My dear friends, in the Gospel of today, Jesus asked two questions to the disciples. Who do people say that I am? And who do you say that I am? Before we ask ourselves the question, who is God for me? There is a fundamental question that we need to ask. Who or what is my God? The first commandment of God is love God before everything else. And if we are giving priority to anything else other than God, persons or things, that becomes our God. And in order to examine, we can think of whether am I considering more than God my parents, my children, my spouse, my fiance, my boss, my friends, etc. Am I giving more priority to them? Or things like materials, money, wealth, possessions, properties, job, the gym, the sports, etc., or even travels and pleasures and all that we have, do I consider them as more important than God? Then we are making them as God for me. So we need to identify the true God, who is God for me. And if we can identify the true God as the Almighty One, the Lord Almighty, the Lord All Powerful, the Lord Creator, the Giver of life, then we can ask the second question, who is God for me? And we know Peter responded Jesus saying that you are the Messiah. And Prophet Isaiah responded in the first reading of today, the Lord is my help. And he continues, who will prove me wrong? It's not just that title that he has assigned to who God is for me, for Isaiah, but he says that action that comes, why he is my help, because he is there at my side, he is there to support me, and I have experienced him. And that's what helps each one of us to identify who is God for me. It's an experience that I have with God, and that experience brings really into action, as says St. James in the second reading of today. So also faith of itself, if it does not have works, is dead. That means my knowledge to God, what an experience that I have with him, that experience should bring a fruit in my day-to-day lives. For example, if I say that God is my friend, that friendship should be alive in godly way with God and with my neighbor. And if it doesn't act in that way, then our friendship with God may not be the true friendship that as we expect. So maybe if you look into the Old Testament, we can find different people, who God for them was. For Abraham, God might have been a friend. He used to talk to him. For Moses, God might have been a consultant. He used to go up to the mountain. For Noah, God might have been an architect or a civil engineer. For Joseph the dreamer, God might have been an interpreter. For prophets, God might have been an encyclopedia, etc. So we can think of different things and examine and see who is God for me. And for me personally, God is my refuge. It's a person whom I have gone to at all the different walks of my life, and I have felt consoled, be it I'm sad, happy, painful, sorrowful, joyful, peaceful, whatever be the moment, I could go to him and I could feel his presence and accompaniment. And I have come to that conclusion that God is my refuge. And who is really God for each one of you? And how do you identify, how do you encounter that presence of God? And it should not be just I'm identifying with a title that God is this for me, but we need to really fulfill them in our day-to-day lives. And I think in order to fulfill that part of our commitment with God, we need to listen and understand and live the invitation of God, Jesus, what he tells in the gospel of today. Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So it's an invitation to become a true disciple of God. Deny oneself and take up the cross. Take up the cross. And what are the crosses that we have in our day-to-day lives? Our daily problems, pain, suffering, sacrifices, etc., along with my responsibilities, my duties, my commitment, etc. Because all these bring my daily sacrifices for God. And I need to accept them as my own, and I need to carry it upon with me. Very often what happens is that we try to place over the others my burden, even my responsibilities, that let them conclude, let them do it so that I can relax myself. And if we do such kind of attitudes, I think Jesus will speak the same word as he spoke to Peter. Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do. So I think we need to think seriously. Am I accepting God's proposals and plans for my life, or am I thinking in human way to burden others, not to carry my own cross? That cross is very essential in our lives, because that cross makes a bridge in order to get across to heaven. And if we carry our daily cross with happiness, accepting even the pains and sufferings and fulfilling our responsibilities faithfully, then we can make that bridge in this world, so that at the end of our lives we can get across to heaven. And we have already made our way, our bridge, our preparations to go across. Otherwise we might lose the opportunity. So let's, as a faithful disciple, let's understand our own crosses, our own daily crosses, and let's carry them faithfully in our day-to-day lives. Thus, let's adore our true God with a very particular title, living that faith experience with God, and showing them through our day-to-day lives as a faithful disciple in the name of the Lord. May God bless each one of us.